I'm not going to be the cheapest, and I haven't been around the longest. So, there's some companies that have been around for a longer time, and so they have a little bit more of a reputation. But what areas can I excel in? And so the first one was timelines. I can really focus on being efficient, being timely, making sure I'm not delaying your guys' projects, but also keeping homeowners happy. Because I see a lot of companies that, they can get the solar panels off quick, but then you call them to put them back on and they're a month or even 2 months out. And then you have this angry homeowner calling you guys like, hey, why are my solar panels not back on? The roof was done 6 weeks ago.
How's it going, guys? Today, I'm John Grogan here with the Rewind podcast once again. I think we're on our 15th episode here, and today we have Alex Vasquez with R&R Solar, Detach and Reset. We have known Alex for probably a little over a year now. We've been working, doing business together throughout the duration of that time. Funny enough, I think your guys' wives know each other.
No.
Or not the wives.
He knows.
I went to high school with Alex.
High school with your wife. So today we're just going to dig into your story, your background, how you got into business, rewind the clock a little bit, take a look at how you got started. We'll talk about solar insights, business challenges, your personal life, so on and so forth.
Cool.
So without further ado, Alex, how are you doing today?
Good, guys. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure doing business with you guys. I love working with good, quality, integral companies. I've worked with a mix and mash of a lot of different companies, and not all contractors are great. A lot of people do things just differently, and some people do things a little shady. So I'm glad that you guys are a good integral company, and I get the honor of working with you guys.
Appreciate that. It's a mutual thing. It's been great working with you guys and seeing your automations, like we've talked about it before, and just the communication on your guys' end. You guys are on top of it. Sometimes it gets overwhelming because we're like not even ready, and we're like, but it's been really good for the past year, like you said, working together and building that partnership has been cool to see, and then your guys' growth as well, because I know you guys have been in business for over close to 2 years, or
about
over
2 years. About 2 years.
So it's really cool. But like we talked about, like the whole thing about the Rewind podcast is kind of taking it back a little bit. I think sometimes we get carried away and just like jump way too far ahead, but we want to really hear you out about your story, your upbringing, what made you who you are, and what kind of triggers your motivations to do what you do. But I guess just tell us a little bit about your upbringing, like you know, where you grew up, family, siblings, all that kind of stuff.
So I was born originally in the Chicagoland area. My dad stayed out there, so as a kid I used to travel back and forth. I moved to Colorado when I was 7 because my mom is from here and her family was out here. So as a kid, definitely split between my dad and my mom, both very different people, very different parenting styles, but they're both amazing. I have a great relationship with the both of them. And then I moved to the Arvada area and graduated from Pomona High School. I moved to the Arvada area when I was about 10 years old.
Was it so like Chicago? I've been there. Do you still go back to Chicago? Do you still? Is your dad still in Chicago?
Yeah, he's still out there. As an adult now, I go out less frequent. So like Ellie and I will try to get out there maybe once, twice a year. And then they'll come out here from time to time too. So I'll get to see them. We got married in September, so I had like all of my family from Chicago
I think I met your dad at the gym that weekend we were married, and I saw you at the gym with your dad.
Sounds about right. But
it's we've been to Chicago with my wife as well, and it's probably one of my favorite places to go, or that I've been. We've been to New York, we've been to Chicago, and like they call it the windy city. And so when you're like in the water or whatever, like the wind is just blowing through. But
It's it's great in the summertime. In the wintertime, it's not my favorite place to be. It's cold.
It's that cold breeze with the water.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I think we went, I think it was like November. So it was starting to get a little chilly, I think it was very rainy when we went there. But so is that a lot of things you do is traveling with your wife? Like, do you guys...
Yeah, I love to travel a little bit more than she does. I've been a lot of places, before getting deep into solar, I worked in the travel industry. So I actually worked for a vacation company for a couple of years. And through that, I got to travel all over the place throughout the States. And then personally, I've been to quite a few different countries too. So I love to travel. She doesn't love planes. So the two obviously don't go that well together.
Yeah.
But we do still travel. Like we went to Puerto Rico earlier this year. We plan on going to Mexico a little bit later this year.
Nice.
It's more me pushing her than her wanting to go. But yeah.
How did you guys meet?
So I met Ellie 6-7 years ago, and just through mutual friends. She graduated from Arvada West, so kind of close to Pomona.
Yeah.
And we just kept in touch over the years. She ended up going off to college in Grand Junction, and I stayed down here, and I was traveling for work and stuff like that. And then we reconnected about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. And and the rest is history.
Yeah. So your upbringing, I know you mentioned that you had the your dad in Chicago, your mom here. Did that play a factor in any way, growing up? Did it affect you mentally to where, I know I've used to volunteer in youth ministry.
Cool.
And I always dealt with a lot of kids that had that type of environment. So it affected them a lot as far as feeling neglected or the different structures that parents give.
Yeah.
And you kind of are fumbling two different lives almost.
For sure. I wouldn't say it negatively affected me. If anything, it positively affected me. My mom worked a lot. And so as a kid, I didn't really understand oh, why is my mom working so hard? And I know she was just trying to make ends meet as a single mom and really trying to provide. And I had a really awesome childhood because of how hard she worked. And then my dad, taught me a lot of other things. He got me into the gym and into sports. And so I think the combination of the two parenting styles really helped me where I'm at today. And now I get to look back on it and think, wow, it was just cool to see the work ethic that my mom had. And I think I've adopted a lot of that, but then I've also adopted a lot of the things that my dad taught me. So I'm grateful that I had two very different parenting styles because it very much molded me into the person I am today.
What did your parents do?
Yeah, so my mom was in sales, and that helps me out a ton. And then my dad, he did some different things when I was growing up. He did sales for a little while. He's now in a union position at Cargill in the Chicagoland area, and he works on the oil refinery side of things. Okay. But yeah, my mom's always been in a sales role. She's good at what she does, and so I was able to learn a lot from her on that as well.
Yeah. Does she ever have a set? She was in sales. I don't know. For me, it's been where yesterday, for example, I started at 8 in the morning and I didn't finish my day until almost 8 at night. So it's did she operate that way? In sales, did she have a pretty good balance?
Yeah, no, very much so. She worked a lot. Yeah. she still does. I mean, I look at her today and she's still grinding and she's still doing the same thing. So yeah, very much sales is hard. And we were talking about it a little bit before the podcast, but you very much, it's eat what you kill a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And, if you're not performing and, you have bills to pay and you guys have a family. And so sales, is a tough thing because of that, because you don't have the guaranteed salary a lot of the time. And, you're just based on performance. And so I think it pushes you to work a little bit harder than, just working an hourly position or a salary position.
Right.
So.
And did you work as a commission only?
Yeah, for a long time.
Did you?
Yeah. Actually, like, I haven't had an hourly job since like high school.
Really?
Yeah. It's funny enough, actually. When I was 16, I got my driver's license in like July or something like that. My mom, just being the like hard worker she is, she took me from the DMV where I got my license directly to apply for my first job. Like there was no lag time in between. We didn't stop at home. So yeah, I applied for my well, because she was like, yeah, you're gonna have a car payment and you're gonna have insurance to pay for, and so she was like, I'm not paying for it.
It's a great thing to do for your kids.
Yeah, it was. At the time, I was like, what the heck? Like none of my friends have jobs, or and they definitely didn't get dropped off from the DMV to apply for their first job, but it was for a lumber company. And my mom's best friend was married to the owner of the lumber company.
Okay.
And so I worked there all through high school. Worked part-time during the school year, and then in the summers I worked full-time. And then I worked there for maybe 6 months after high school. And what that job taught me was that I didn't want to work with my hands. It was tough. Yeah. It was hard. It was a lot of at 16 years old, I couldn't drive a forklift. So for those first 2 years, I was just stocking wood and carrying everything, a lot of splinters, a lot of long days. And so that taught me okay, I don't want to do this. And I'm not good at school because I have ADHD and later found out I'm dyslexic. And so 2 learning disabilities, I was never good at education. So I knew college wasn't a go. And so I'm okay, I got to get good at sales. And that's what took me into what I'm doing now.
Was it directly after the lumber that you got involved in sales? It was you knew right away. It's okay, I'm going to go do what my mom does, basically.
Yeah. I figured I'd be pretty good at it. I had helped her, a few weekends and stuff, doing what she was doing, just going to events, because she worked for a while. She was working events, and so selling. It used to be credit card promotions for a long time when I was growing up, and then she transferred into the vacation industry as well. So that's the company that I worked for, and so I'd go to events with her, and wasn't like an employee. I would just be hanging out, but all of her sales reps would be busy, and I try to sell some vacations, and it worked out a few times. And so I figured I would be good at it, and then I just watched her do it for so many years. And so I figured that, okay, she can do this. I can figure it out. I could get good at sales.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What was the first company that you ended up working for? And what was your first sales job after that?
Yeah, so I got an internship with Northwestern Mutual right after that job at the lumber company ended. So I had to get licensed to sell life insurance. And, I think it's a great industry. It was also very tough because a lot of how these life insurance companies structure themselves is, especially with an internship, is you show up there on the first day, they have you write down a list of 100 people that and then you're just calling your grandma or your old wrestling coach or whatever it was. And it I don't know, it was tough. It wasn't like I was calling leads or something. I just had to reach out to people that I knew, and it wasn't like a product I think I fully believed in at that time. And so it's one thing to sell just a product, but it's one thing to sell a product to your grandma or something. You really need to believe in the product. So I didn't do that for that long. And then I got into the vacation world and worked not for my mom, but for another team within the company. So she was running a team out here in Colorado, and they would kind of travel on the West Coast, and then a team in Florida had just started. And so I was traveling back and forth from here to Florida.
And since you like traveling, that was probably
it was great.
Yeah,
it was great. I was
best
like
of both worlds.
20 years old
Yeah.
into like 21 years old, and I got to travel to Florida super consistently and go a lot of places. And I was single, and like it was, it was nice.
It's like
It was
a
cool.
dream job, like right out of high school and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like what most guys would want to do.
Yeah, it was cool. The Florida team had a contract with the Buccaneers, so we would go to the Buccaneers games. Like we'd be selling vacations at the tailgates, and then we'd get to go inside the games and
that's pretty
sell
cool.
vacations.
Yeah.
So it was fun. There was some cool perks to it, and then I also got to stay at the resorts outside of, just when I was working. So that was always fun too. And then COVID hit.
Good times.
Yeah, and that just obviously shut down the vacation industry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if, because I mean, it seems like a great industry to be in general, especially having that foot in the door with your mom already being there.
Yeah.
So how bad did COVID affect? I mean, well, obviously nobody was able to take vacations and things like that. So
it shut it down entirely. I mean, it was almost instantaneous. Like, thankfully, I was in state when, the lockdown and everything happened. But my mom was actually traveling. She was working at the baseball spring training.
Oh, okay.
And that was right when everything had shut down. And then, they shut the whole program down. And within a couple days, they were letting go of employees. And so I got unemployment from the company. And
so were you salary there plus commission? Were you like hourly plus commission?
Yeah,
or were you
I had a very, very small hourly. I don't even remember what it was because it wasn't substantial enough for me to even care about.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively commission.
Yeah. And then what happened after that? Like I know.
Yeah.
Kind of leading. I think we're getting close to the point where you decided
get into solar. Yeah.
Get into solar and all that. So what during that time, what do you think you picked up from that job that helped you kind of where you're at now?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things. Like I had a really good sales manager. He taught me a ton just about, about like the psychology of sales and like mirroring and matching and just creating commonality and stuff. So I got to see that firsthand. And then I was doing it so frequently, so I got a lot of reps in. And I think that's a tough thing for salespeople to do, is to just get the reps in and be able to have the conversations and be able to try to sell something. Because if you can't get the reps in with anything, you're not going to get good at it. So that was probably the big thing with that. And then shortly after that, I got into solar, and I sold solar for quite a while, 2 years.
I hear there's good money, or I don't know if it's still the same way, but
a
lot of companies push it. I mean, along with every person I talk to that's been trying to sell solar at least once in their life.
Yeah, it's a very high paying industry. I think there's a lot of things wrong with the sales side of things, which is ultimately why I got out of doing solar sales. But nevertheless, there was a lot of people making a lot of money, especially when I was in it. The company I had worked for, so Tesla bought Solar City. And Solar City was the biggest solar sales company at the time. But when Tesla bought Solar City, they decided to get rid of the direct sales side of things. So they just cut everybody out. So everybody that was selling door to door or selling in-house had to find somewhere else to go.
It's weird.
Yeah. And so the company that I had worked for had picked up, they had recruited a lot of the top guys from Solar City. And so going into solar sales, a lot of the, most of the guys, especially the top guys, they were making a lot more money than doctors were. And so like for me, that was very enticing at the time. I was like, oh wow, I could make a lot of money. I just think the problem with it is just the integrity. And I know it's the same in the roofing with a lot of, people just really not providing as much information as they should. With solar, it's a lot of times people are just selling a payment, hey, I can get you a lower payment, but they don't inform people about the product or that it has to be maintenanced or what the life expectancy is, or if something does go wrong, are we going to come back out to help you? And so that's ultimately why I got into what I do currently.
It seems like it's always the next sale. Like, close one, it's like, how do I get in the next one? And so on and so forth. And I think that's very common in both industries, roofing industry, solar industry, or just any type of service like that we're in construction. And so was there like a certain mentor like during this period of time? So like for me, I think it was the gym industry that really changed my life, where I met certain people that I literally became like a sponge, and I glued myself to those people, and I soaked everything in and became a better version of myself. Did you meet any people throughout your career that really gave you some really, really good life lessons that you were like, man, this is why I want to make more money? Or is there a purpose behind what, everything that you were doing at that time? It sounds like it was very like self-driven. Yeah. And there was a lot of reason why you were doing it, like looking up to your parents, but it's like, what were like your inner, thoughts behind that, like making money? Was that one thing that you were
looking? So as far as the mentors go, I can't pinpoint like one specific person that like gave me this monumental shift. I talked about it recently in another podcast, but like I said, when I was growing up, I was not good in school, and I had a business teacher that was the one class I was good at. Like I wasn't good at math. I wasn't good at, the English side of things. But I was really good at this business class. And, I think it was my senior year of high school. I had gotten a letter in the mail that invited me to the academic awards. And I just remember being shocked. I was like, how the heck am I getting invited to the academic awards? Like, have you seen my GPA? I genuinely thought it was a mistake. Like I thought it had happened by accident, and I didn't know why I was getting it, but I was like, I got to see this through. So I showed up to the academic awards, with my last name starting with V. I was end of of the calling and stuff, so I waited there the whole time like, why am I here? I was like, am I even gonna get called up? Was it actually an accident? And I got called up for excelling in business. And so I think that was a cool, like, just mental shift for me. And I don't even remember if I thought about it much at that time, but thinking back on that moment, I think that was a huge, like, shift in a belief for me. Because it's like, hey, when you're not good at school and, I didn't get into wrestling until high school. And so, like, I got, beat up a bunch in that. And I don't know, you start to believe like you're not good at anything. And I think that was like a big shift for me. It's like, oh, okay, I'm pretty good at this business thing. I think I can figure this out. And I've always been very entrepreneurial minded. Like when I was a kid, freshman in high school, I started a sand moving business, just with like a couple buddies. I would go sell jobs in like, neighborhoods that had beaches, and and we'd order the material, and then I'd hire my friends for hourly, and
figuring out taxes.
So I knew I could figure the business thing out, but that was a big shift for me as far as like, I don't know, something that like really changed, like a belief in me. Other than that, I've had a lot of people poured into me. I don't think anybody becomes successful just by themselves. Like, I don't believe it's even possible. I think you have to have people that pour into you, that believe in you, ultimately before you can believe in yourself. And so I'm fortunate to have had like a lot of like people that have helped me along the way.
It's tough doing it by yourself. I think that is probably one of my biggest lessons. I mean, we're going on our 4th year in business, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like the inner thoughts. You know, you think about your past. You know, like all those little things that play a factor in who you became. And for me, it's like it doesn't replay in my head, but it's like for me, it's like, you know, I don't want to go back to where I was before. I don't want to fail because of those reasons. So you push hard every single day and you're like, I want to be the best version. I want to continue. I'm not going to quit on myself.
Yeah.
Now you have a wife. I'm sure that changes another whole perspective about it. You have someone that believes in you more than anybody, honestly, probably.
Yeah.
And
for sure. Well, yeah, to speak on that, and I talk to Ellie about this all the time, like that was another big shift for me. The second I realized, like when I was ring shopping for Ellie and I knew I was going to propose, I think that was another big shift for me too. It was like, hey, it's no longer just about me, you know, because when it was just me, it was like, oh, well, you know, I'm making good money and my, you know, rent's paid and I'm taken care of and I'm doing okay for myself. But the second somebody else is involved, and I'm sure even more so when I have a kid, and I'm sure you guys experience this as well, it's like, it's a whole nother level of responsibility that really pushes you to like just achieve more. And it really puts the pressure on. So like I always attest to like a lot of the things I've done to her, not from like a direct thing that she said or, you know, she does help me a lot with what I do and she does believe in me, but more so just like, you know, when I knew I was going to do life with her, it was like, okay, now it's not just about me. And so I have to step it up and I have to be more consistent and, you know, really work hard to make this stuff happen.
It's a whole nother responsibility in itself.
100%. You guys weren't married when you started R&R Solar, were you? Were you guys married at that point?
No, but we were together. Yeah. So I started Solar R&R kind of in the middle of 2023, right after the big hailstorm. So in like Erie. Well, so let's flash back a little bit.
Yeah. So there's a lot in between.
So I ended up starting my first solar company in 2021 with a business partner. And, you know, when we started selling solar, interest rates were super low. In solar financing, there's dealer fees. So dealer fees were really low. Well, shortly after we got into it, everything had raised significantly. So it wasn't just like minor. It was like these interest rates went from like 3.99% to like 21%. And it was, it was a huge difference. And so it was, you know, we did well for a little while, but once these interest rates started to go up significantly, it got harder to sell solar, especially because I was just really trying to sell things integrally. I wasn't trying to like just sell a payment. I was actually trying to educate homeowners. And I'm sure you guys have experienced this. Like, it's a lot easier to sell something when you're not disclosing everything. Yeah. But if you really want to walk, you know, a customer through everything, you know, you do have the opportunity to sometimes lose a deal. But in the long run, it helps you out so much more. Like, you'll get repeat customers and you'll get repeat business from that. So 2023 rolls around, things are really slowing down for us, and a huge hailstorm hits in.
It was
Erie, right?
It was Erie was the first one. That was a big. I mean, that was a big year in general. Erie, Fort Lupton, and then Frederick, Parker.
Parker,
Centennial.
Man, I miss that year.
And so like I I mean, kind of struggling financially. Like, we weren't making a ton of money at that time. And so I actually reached out to a family friend of mine that had a roofing company. And I wasn't even thinking about solar at the time. I was like, hey, can I sell some roofs for you? I was like, if I could sell solar, I could probably sell roofs.
Right.
And so I met with him. We did a little training. And this is like the day after the hailstorm hit, because he needed more hands on deck. And so literally like next day after a little training, sent me off, and I tried to sell some roofs. Yeah. And first roof I sold for him actually had solar panels on it. And so I asked him, what do you guys typically do when there's solar panels on a roof? And he was like, oh, we typically subcontract a company out. And I was like, oh, well, I have a company. And I had heard of detach and resetting solar panels, but I wasn't super familiar with it, with the process and working with insurance companies. It just wasn't something I had really done before. But I knew I could figure it out, and I had a really good crew at that time. And So yeah, he let me subcontract my company out, and
that was the one with your former business partner.
Yep. He let me subcontract the company out. We removed and reinstalled the solar panels, and it went really well. I just remember I was like, I don't know really how to price this, and so I just sent insurance a bill, and they paid it. And I was like, oh, this is a lot easier working than working with homeowners. And then the second roof I sold had solar panels. And so it was like I sold a couple roofs for him until I realized, like, well, I already know solar so well. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm very educated on it. How can I kind of merge these two things? And so that was ultimately what led me to start Solar R&R. And it was cool because I worked for this company for like 6 months and still doing the solar stuff, but just kind of part-time. But what it did is it really helped me understand roofing as well, because a lot of what we do is working with roofing companies. And so I was able to get a really basic understanding of just about every part of roofing. I walked low slope and steep slope, and got to watch builds happen from start to finish, and really learn the insurance side of things. And so that's what led me to start Solar R&R. So 2023, I branched off from my business partner and started Solar R&R.
Was that I know with partnerships, we can attest to it. Sometimes it gets a little rough between the feathers. Whether it's sales, processes, and procedures. But in that point, it's like, was the merging, was it pretty efficient? Like where you guys both were like, this is awesome. You do your thing.
For the most part, we had a lot of disagreements about just a lot of different things, and we were close friends beforehand. So that always makes things tough too. When you mix friendship and business, or family and business, a lot of times like it can just get tough. And that happened with us. And so it definitely did start to affect our friendship. But, at the time I had decided to branch off. We were kind of doing our own things within the business, if that makes sense. Like we were working together. Yeah. The entity was there, but like I was kind of doing my thing and he was kind of doing his thing, and it just wasn't really working anyways. And so I knew, eventually we were going to part ways and do different things. But yes, so for the most part, it was good. We sat down and had a conversation and talked about how everything was going to split up. And and it was pretty amicable, and we're still friends to this day. So
that is good.
Yeah.
They don't always end that way.
I know.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
It can be rough.
Yeah.
As far as like the differences in business from what you were doing then, like, because you've run two companies, like you've run a solar company, like selling solar, and then now you're doing just simply detach and reset. As similar as those two fields would be, you would think there's actually a lot of differences between them, between selling solar. just even the client landscape is different. What do you think which one did you, well, obviously detaching and reset, that's what you went to, but what were the big differences in that?
Yeah. So selling solar, there's a long process to it. It's not like, I sell you guys solar panels today and then we show up tomorrow and we install them. There's things you have to do with the utility company, and you have to get a whole design done. And then there's a permitting process. And depending on the jurisdiction it's in, it could, be 3 to 6 month wait time to actually get panels installed on roofs. And then you have to do final commissioning, and there's multiple inspections, and the utility company has to come out. So it's a very long, drawn out process to where what I do now, it's very quick, for detaching and resetting solar panels. In Colorado specifically, some jurisdictions require permits, some don't. And we just do a really thorough job to make sure we know which ones do and which ones don't. But either way, the lag time for that is pretty quick. And so all we're waiting for is whenever roofing companies are ready for us to remove the solar panels. So the efficiency is just the timeline is a lot quicker with what I do now. And I prefer that personally because I'm sure you guys know this, but like a big part of business is cash flow. And with a solar, a traditional solar company, cash flow can very much be a problem, especially if you're, waiting 3 to 6 months after you close a deal to actually fully get paid out on that. Where it's entirely different for me. We turn around projects really quickly. Like we just started really tracking our metrics. I think my average start time from when we detach solar panels and reset them is about 9 days. It's about a 9-day lag. So we're pretty quick, quick, start to finish on projects is really quick for us.
It's good to know that you know your metrics. I think in business, a lot of people don't know specific metrics. Like we're still nailing down a few areas, like windows but for you, it's like you know your business. Like you've implemented certain things for the things to flow. In a 9 day period. As opposed to some companies, I don't know why, for whatever reason, they're like, we're 4 to 6 weeks out. I'm like,
that was what I was going to say next. I mean, we've dealt with 3-4 different detach and reset companies, and for whatever reason, trying to get it done within a month, let alone a week, is almost impossible. It's crazy. How did you create, being inside the industry, how were you able to implement a process like that to where, these other companies, it seems like you're doing something better than they are, for sure.
I would like to think so.
Well, in our experience, you're definitely doing something different.
So I watch a lot of Alex Hermosi and I read a lot of his books. I don't know if you guys ever follow his stuff.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
He's got that, he was a gym influencer before, right? I know who you're talking about. So
he's started quite a few businesses, but he's an author and does a lot of like podcasts and video information. But, when I started my business, I read a book of his. It's called $100 Million Offers. And it really helped me shift my mindset of like, at first I was just trying to figure out, well, how can I competitively price what I do so I'm kind of like at where everybody else is at. And it's just a slippery slope when you're trying to compete with people on pricing. It's just a downward battle. And so I started trying to figure out, well, how can I not make it a downward battle and just kind of create like a whole different lane for me? And so what I did was just really try to focus on, well, I'm not going to be the cheapest and I haven't been around the longest. So, there's some companies that have been around for a longer time. And so they have a little bit more of a reputation, but what areas can I excel in? And so the first one was timelines. I can really focus on being efficient, being timely, making sure I'm not delaying your guys' projects, but also keeping homeowners happy. Because I see a lot of companies that, they can get the solar panels off quick, but then you call them to put them back on and they're a month or even 2 months out. And then you have this angry homeowner calling you guys like, hey, why are my solar panels not back on? The roof was done 6 weeks ago. So that was the first thing. I wanted to focus on that. I wanted to focus on always making it a win-win. So another focus of mine, and I know you guys see this, but I want to make sure it's profitable for all parties. And working with insurance, that can be the case if it's done properly. So I help roofing companies just make sure they're getting paid properly from insurance because, as a general contractor, you guys should be compensated for all trades that are on your scope of work. Yeah. And
we used to not believe that when we first started. We were like, we just want to, our thing was like, we just want to do right by the homeowner, even if we don't make $1 on it. Yeah. And then slowly started, we were like, why aren't we making even like $200? We started asking the solar companies, like, hey, can we make, as a reference, like $250, $300? And they're like, no, there's not enough margin. We're like, all right, well, that's fine. As long as you guys do the, good job and you guys give us proper timelines, that works. And then not until we started working with you, so we started seeing a little bit of a good relationship financially, but also like in the business, like scheduling. I know you guys work together on scheduling, and sometimes I'll throw in something random at you where like, hey, I messed up, didn't schedule this in time. We're getting better, but
need to get this done tomorrow.
I needed it done yesterday.
Don't do that anymore. But.
No.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. Like I want people to provide me business, and if you're not financially incentivized to do that, even if we're taking care of your customers, if you're the one that has to coordinate me and, kind of work directly with me, there should be some sort of compensation. So that was the second thing I focused on was I want to make sure it's always a win-win scenario financially as well. And then the third big thing is just, communication and just us representing you guys really well. And that's something we focus on. Like, we do a majority of our business B2B. So we partner with a lot of different roofing companies. And I understand that when my guys show up there, or I show up to the project, I'm always a representation of you guys. And so I always try to figure out, well, how can I represent Virtuous Roofing in the best fashion? Because I never want to, be out at a project and, my guys just aren't presenting themselves well, or they're, using bad language on a roof or something. So I do a lot of training and make sure I'm present a lot of the time to just make sure we're representing you guys in the highest fashion, and then communicating really well with you guys and keeping the homeowner in the loop throughout the process. Yeah.
Which we can vouch for that. Your team, like I said, sometimes I feel overwhelmed because I'm like, we're not ready. But, it gives us room to say, hey, we need another week, 2 weeks, or hey, we ran into this insurance situation. They're not paying for, the solar at all, or they're sending us this documentation. How can we figure this out? And then you guys provide a little bit of guidance there. Yeah. But no, it's really good to have people. One, I think you guys have a lot of integrity, and I think you guys show with your company, the culture you're building there. And so with that, I don't know if you want to give your team a shout out individually of the people of what they do. And I guess like what things that you're proud of that you've seen in your company that you're like, I'm really proud of this person for this and that and the other, whatever.
Yeah. I've built a really amazing team. I think, I've gotten really lucky. I know a lot of people talk about how hiring is one of the hardest parts of owning a business. And, specifically with subcontractors, I used subcontractors at one point, and I had to go through quite a few not great subcontractors for various reasons. Sometimes it was a communication issue. Sometimes it was a, respect issue, like, they weren't being very respectful to me. And then other times it was like a quality issue. And so I dealt with a lot of tough subcontractors, but right now I have 2 phenomenal crews. One of them's ran by a crew lead, Christian. He's phenomenal. He's been in the space for 6 years. And then another one is ran by Cody, and Cody's based down in Colorado Springs. But these guys are awesome. They work together from time to time, so they can like each learn from each other and find things that are working really well and what's not working well. And they always come to me too. Like if they feel like there's something like some sort of material we could purchase to help protect roofs better or, increase our efficiency, they're always bringing it to my attention. So they're helping me improve our process as we go.
They're invested.
They're invested.
You're invested in each other.
Yeah. I love, I love to have a team that like actually cares about the company and wants to see the growth and wants to forward it and like really just represent us well. And then my office team, I have Jen. Jen came on with me in August of last year. And she's phenomenal. She handles all of our operations. She's been in the solar world for about 10 years. So she knows a lot more about a lot of the back end stuff than I do.
Yeah.
How did you guys know each other?
I met her online.
Oh.
Yeah. I posted an ad and she reached out and, I was looking for a remote operations role and there was only one woman that applied and I did interview other people, but I just felt like she would be a really good fit for it. I needed somebody that was a lot more organized than I was because that was an area where I struggled in was organization, and like having everything really structured in a CRM.
So I'm assuming you give her like freedom to like. So for me, it's like I give people room to criticize my work ethic or like what I do wrong, and I'm always checking in with people. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, where am I doing good here? Like, hey, sorry I didn't show up, and then they get used to it, so people feed me back and like, hey, you've been late lately, or whatever. So you give her room for that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think at first it was a little hard for me to like, I built this business. It's my livelihood. It's what pays all my bills and covers everything. So like at first kind of letting go of some of the responsibility was hard for me. Like I wouldn't say micromanaged, but I was having a hard time giving tasks away. And finally she came to me and she was like, hey, you can't do it all. She's like, I'm very capable of doing all of these things. I just need you to give them to me. And so I was like, all right, give it to you. Let's see how it goes. And it went really well. And she's really improved a lot of our processes. Like we have, automated emails that go out to customers and you guys, automated text messages, reminders for following up on projects. We have like a very automated system to help the company, move forward and making sure things are getting done properly and quickly. And so she built a lot of that stuff out. So super thankful for her and that. And she keeps things running, quick. I know she runs a tight ship.
She definitely does. No, there's been a few times where it's all good though, because I need that as well. Just that she's on your butt when she wants something done. She won't hesitate to reach out. She's like, hey, thanks for returning my phone call.
She's on it. And sometimes she's a little bit too urgent with it, but she makes sure things get done and get done quick and get done well.
It's hard to find people like that. That, again, have the same invested interest that you do in your own company. And I know, we've had Gracie, our rep. She's like that, where she's just on it. And having a person like that changes everything. The way the business operates as a whole.
For sure. So, it's huge. And then my most recent employee is Aurora. And she's my office manager. So she handles accounts payable, accounts receivable, make sure all my guys get paid on time, make sure we're receiving payment in a timely fashion. She's really helped like build more of like a company culture and has helped with like some of the HR stuff, which is super complex. There's a lot to that. And so, she came from another small company where she was doing all of that. So, that was another thing I was fortunate with. Like both Jen and Aurora have worked with small businesses. And I think it's tough because it's different working for a small business. You go work for a large corporation and they've got all these things built out to where I don't. And so I needed people that like could figure things out and build out those processes and not just be like, hey,
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got really lucky with both of them. They're phenomenal, and they really help Solar R&R be a quality, reputable, really good company.
Yeah.
What
You guys have done very well.
Yeah. What are your plans for the next 5 years with Solar R&R?
Yeah. At first, like when we really started doing a lot of business, I had thought about expanding potentially into different states. I've really just slowed down on that. There's still so much opportunity in Colorado with all the hail we get. There's a ton of roofing companies to work with. We just started doing some more stuff with realtors and real estate professionals. So we'll do like solar inspections for real estate transaction because it's one of the few things that's not covered on a home inspection. So there's so much more I could be doing here where I know eventually we will expand and probably take it elsewhere because we're niche. There's not a lot of companies that do what we do, but there's a huge need for it. And solar companies are going out of business frequently.
It's crazy.
Yeah, two of the largest solar companies in the U.S. just went out of business over the last 18 months.
I do have a question in regards to that, and I think it's big, especially for the viewers. What do you think the solar market is going to look like? I mean, in both regards. Obviously, you just do detach and reset.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of knowledge in the industry. Where do you see it going?
Yeah.
There's new mandates too, even. I mean, I think EV cars and all that stuff. I don't know if it plays a...
Yeah.
Well, didn't Trump take away, there used to be a tax rebate, right, on having solar. Did that go away?
Yeah, end of 2025, the solar tax credit is going away along with the EV stuff as well. And so that's definitely going to affect the industry significantly, as well as like tariffs. That's another big thing. Not all solar materials are made in the U.S. And a lot of people do ship in materials from overseas. So that's also going to spike prices. So yeah, the industry is definitely going to shift. It's going to survive. I just know companies are going to have to pivot and find different ways to bring value. I don't think solar reps are going to be making, like all of them are going to be making the doctor money anymore. I do think that's going to be a big shift because the profit margins in selling solar for a long time were kind of absurd. Now owning a business, and all power to you, if you can make a lot of money through your company, great. But I'd see some of the profit margins within solar and like the commissions that these sales guys were making. And I'm like, geez, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money going out. So that's going to be a big shift. I don't think guys are going to be making as much money anymore. But it's going to survive. It's just going to shift.
Do you think it's still reasonable for people to put solar on their homes? Do you still think that it's a good idea with where the market is going? I know Colorado, obviously we're still on I don't know if we're on an incline, but you think it's still reasonable to do that?
I would say so. I think the big thing is finding a good company. Because anytime there's a big market shift in any industry, more companies are going to go out of business. And with solar already being such a high turnover industry, I think you want to make sure that the company that is installing your solar is going to be there for the long haul. Like, do they have a good track record? Are they reputable? Do they have good reviews? And
it's hard to find, I think.
Yeah,
because every solar company nowadays, you're down in the threes. There's just too many sharks out there.
It's true.
And they're just, again, after those large commissions. And so what do you, there's only a few people that actually cared about what they were selling. But when you have 1 out of 10 that cares, every other one is burning people, and burning homeowners, leaving homeowners stranded. And, it's good props to you for standing your ground. I think I've seen or heard that you've, are a man of faith as well. And I'm sure that plays a major factor. I want to touch base on that a little bit before we got a few more minutes, but before we end up, we'll have to do a part 2 eventually.
Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, your faith, I think we're major, we're very into our faith as well. And I know it plays a big factor in our business, the way we operate. We're not perfect. We're still learning.
Yeah.
But for you, what does that mean to you, your faith and your relationship with God, essentially?
Yeah. I mean, it's everything. It's a foundation for my marriage. It's how I run my business. I mean, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts and I'll read a lot of business books, but I've learned the most about how to run a business and how to be an integral person from the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. It's everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
not much more needs to be said in that regards. I think, we can all agree. I mean, we would not be where we are or who we are without it. And there have been things and trials in the business that God has 100% brought us to, where it's like, there's almost you just can't deny it. It's like, okay, we wouldn't have made it without you.
Yeah. Well, I just think about too, like, owning a business is hard.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times last year where I was making more money than I've ever made, but I was 1,000 times more stressed out than I've ever been, with just things going wrong, and there's things out of your control and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think my faith really helped me get through that, because I knew I was just in a season of trial and tribulation. And I knew that it was all going to be okay because of my faith. And I knew God was just preparing me for the next thing. And I go through that all the time. I mean, like, being a business owner, there's
no end.
There's stuff that goes wrong all the time. It's inevitable, but I can't imagine doing it realistically for the long haul if I didn't have my faith. I think eventually I would quit, or it would get too overwhelming, or I'd have a lack of belief or a lack of faith in myself, and eventually my business would crumble. But I know with Him, I can endure, and all things are possible.
It's crazy. Yeah, a lot of people don't know the pains, and we've been through pain together before with one specific homeowner, and I'm sure that one gave you gray hairs just as much as it gave me gray hairs. And but though how I see those, and what I was told when I was younger, is like, all those are like trials and tribulations, sure, but it's like God is preparing you for what's coming, because He's making you stronger, bolder, smarter, more equipped, like all these different things that it's like when we ask for Him to like help us grow or learn, He will do it in ways that we don't like, and that make us uncomfortable. And when we go through it and then we get past it, we're like, okay, now I don't have to be stressed about things like that. So it's really cool to know that you operate that way as well, and that we, can relate on that part of
It's funny that you say that, because I think you're 100% right. Like, there are so many things where if there wasn't that, if I was an atheist or something like that, there are so many things where when it's all on you, you're just you just can't do it. There's just nothing to lean on. And so having that belief and that mindset, and knowing that all things will work out for good, is monumental. I don't know how people do it without it, to be honest.
I don't.
One of the last few questions, I guess, for people that are in the solar roofing industry, you're an entrepreneur. There's a lot of business owners. You have a lot of connections. Realtors tend to be very self-dependent on commissions. What's an advice that you can give people to continue pushing in whatever they're doing, that you have learned in the last 12 months or whatever, since you've been on your own?
I mean, there's so much to it. I think a big thing is so I very much and this is biblical too, but there's a part in Genesis where I feel like God kind of provides a recipe for success, in my opinion, and it's be, do, have. And so He says, be fruitful and multiply. And so he's giving kind of a recipe in my mind for success. And I think the first step to that is the be. You have to become the person that can be successful. And I think you do that through things like your habits. So that's a place I would start for a lot of people is, well, I'm not, making the amount of money I want to make, or I'm not making the impact that I want to make. Well, what do your habits look like? What time are you waking up at? How long are you working for? Where is your mental clarity at when you start your work day? And so I think that's like huge, is your habits. And then the second is your actions. And so like, you can't just be the person that could be successful. You have to actually go do things and go talk to people and go put yourself out there and experience failure. And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up. Like, everybody can read the business book or watch The Wolf of Wall Street or whatever it is. But, when you actually have to go like knock on doors or, cold call or whatever it is, and get uncomfortable, that's, I feel like, where a lot of people stop, because you're going to experience a lot of failure.
I think that's important. I mean, at some point, you can read all of the business books you want to. And that was a big difference between us when we were starting the company. It's like, I wanted to make sure I had everything in place and I knew everything, and I, all of these details were figured out, and he was just like, nope, let's just go. Let's just do it. Let's just plow right ahead.
Actions.
All actions. And I think that's, you can go without reading the books and things like that, but as long as you're moving, doing things like that, because no matter how many books you read, your process is not going to be the same of what's in that book. It's going to be different. You're going to go through different struggles. Yeah,
exactly. And I think like preparedness is important too.
Well, but, not to say that.
But for sure, a lot of people get hung up on actually doing the action because it's hard. And I believe that the hard stuff makes the biggest impact. The easy stuff isn't gonna bring as much reward back as soon, but doing hard things like knocking on doors for roofing, like that will bring you immediate business, but it's uncomfortable. And so you got to get out of your comfort zone. And then if you do the be and the do, then you can have, and you can.
I like that. Be, do, have.
And I think a lot of people get it mixed up where it's like, well, I'll be the person, I'll be the person once I start doing it for a little while, or
once I have it.
Once I have it, I hear that all the time. Like, oh well, I'll start giving money away, or I'll be more generous when I have money, and that's never the case. If you're not giving when you don't have much, then you're not going to be giving when you have a lot.
I've heard that money and alcohol are very similar in the sense that like they don't change you, they just amplify who you really are. So if you're, again, if we go out and we have a few drinks or something like that, and you have two different types of people, one person, they start, kissing and loving on everybody and having a great old time and everything. That's just like, that's inside them. That's really who they are. Like the person who gets all angry. It's usually a person who's got a lot of pent up aggression. Same thing with money. If you're somebody who's very, either abundance mindset or what's the word that I'm looking for? But basically like an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. Scarcity mentality versus that. It's just going to amplify when you have whatever you have.
100%. Yeah. And I think, going back to like, God very much, I feel like prepares you before he gives it to you. I don't think, people get impatient. A lot of times there's, people get really impatient on like, oh, well, I want it now. But if you had it now, would you be able to steward it, or would it change you for the worse because you haven't built, that integrity that you should have before you have it?
It's funny. My friend Marco, he owns, he's going to be on one of our episodes, but basically he builds apartment complexes. This is what he does. Like he's just has so many employees, and he's one of my guys that feeds a lot of wisdom to me. And one day he was introducing me to this multifamily I guess like partner or something like that. And we got out of the meeting, and then we go down there, and I was like really stressed. You could tell. He was like, "You doing good, dude?" I was like, "No, I'm doing all right." Like it's been rough, but it was one of those things where you have, and it's like I was talking a lot about what I had at that moment. I was like, "Well, I have this, I have that, I have the other." He's like, "Dude, you need to be okay with letting God. If He took this from you, you need to be okay with it."
Yeah.
He's like, "You need to stop giving two craps about the problems, the financials, like if God took what I have right now, he's like, I would be okay with it because I could do it again because now I know what to do." But he's like, you need to get away from that scarcity mentality of like what you have. It's like, how much are you giving actually? Like, how much are you providing people? How much forgiveness are you giving? It's like, you got to think about all those things. And when you're thinking only about receiving and what you have, you're going to become bitter, very obsessed in the wrong things. And yeah, it was huge. And the things that you're saying is very wise for people to take because in business and money making and all of this stuff, it can become very selfish and very mean and very bitter. And money does change people. It is in the Bible, God talks about it many, many times. And it's like, you either worship me or you worship money.
Yeah, you can't have two masters.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so I prefer to have God as my main source of everything, and it's a lot healthier. It's stressful still, but he's in your corner every single time
for sure.
So appreciate the wisdom on that, because
of course,
really
guys.
Good pinpoints.
I
guess we can do the anything else you guys want to touch base on there?
No, I think that's a good way to wrap up. I think we've dove into your story and gotten to know you a lot better. So.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's do some rapid fire, just quick 4 questions.
I love it.
First one is coffee or pre-workout?
I just finally kind of got off the pre-workout. I've been taking pre-workout for forever.
I'm bad. I need it most of the time.
It used to be like 400 mg straight to the dome. Now, like, I very much toned it back. But yeah, I'll typically drink like what I'm drinking right now. It's Bum, but it's the energy drink. So it's Chris Bumstead's.
Oh, nice.
But it's the equivalent amount of caffeine that's in a 12-ounce coffee.
Oh, really?
So
like
it's not crazy. It doesn't have the beta alanine and all the other stuff in it. So I would, whatever is at the in between there, like energy drink kind of.
So you've toned it down.
Significantly. I guess still pre-workout.
It's like right in the middle. Coffee pre-workout.
Yeah.
The next one. Do you prefer text or call?
Oh, I'm call all the way. Yeah, I do most of my business on the phone. And if you want to get a hold of me, you probably got to call me. I've got way too many unread messages.
That's fine. Same. I can relate. I guess new install or R&R job?
R&R. All the way. Yeah, it's what we do. I'm going to stay on that horse for a long time.
You guys are good at it.
Yeah.
Your favorite vacation spot?
Ooh, probably Puerto Rico. Yeah, I'm half Puerto Rican.
Oh, really?
So so my I have a lot of family out there, but Ellie loves Puerto Rico too. It's like the one place I can consistently get her to travel to.
Nice.
So so we love Puerto Rico, and we'll probably make that a consistent habit. We may even buy a house out there.
Really?
At some point. There's a lot of tax benefits to that too. But
well, if you guys,
I'll let you guys know.
I went there for my honeymoon.
Oh
with
yeah,
my wife,
it's beautiful.
So, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I've yet to go.
Sweet, that'd be awesome. It's a great purchase
for sure.
So I guess Colorado, summer or winter?
Oh, summer. Yeah. I mean, if I could pick any like season, I'd probably say like spring or fall.
Yeah.
Because I don't love the cold, but I don't love the hot. But fall,
degrees,
fall is perfect in Colorado, in my opinion, like in the 70s. But if I had to pick, I'd pick summer.
Yeah. Two more questions.
Okay.
Sunrunner or Tesla?
Ooh. They're both tough to work with. As far as communication goes, probably Sunrun. They're a little bit better. As far as product, probably Tesla. Yeah. But it depends what you're looking for. They both have their downsides.
Yeah. Last one. Who's your favorite roofing company to work with?
Virtuous Roofing.
Not to put you on the spot. I'm sure you got great partners all over. But awesome, guys. Well, I think it was a great episode. We should do this again, part 2. Maybe like dig a little more into
Maybe
whatever.
maybe a time when our AC is working.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
really hot in here.
I saw you
He's
sweating at the
sweating.
I was
beginning. Yeah.
sweating bad. But
Yeah.
I got 2 shirts on. So
No, awesome guys. Yeah, thank you for having me, and yeah, I'd love to do a part 2 at some point.
Yeah, awesome guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. We'll have Alex back on. If you guys have any questions for the future episode, let us know. Follow him. Do you want to plug your social media?
Yeah, it's just at Solar R&R.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, real estate agents that we partner with. If you watch this, if you need solar inspections before your closing or anything like that, reach out to Alex and his team. We'll put their information in our bios and the description of our YouTube channel. And then, he'd love to help you guys out with that. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Yeah.